So, welcome everybody to a new tutorial series of mine. This one is going to be the first one that I'll be streaming, and we're going to go like as follows. This will be a guided run. Basically, I did a beginner's tutorial already. I'll drop the link somewhere in the description. And this is basically step 2. This series will start from the beginning. I'll do random colonists, I'll do vanilla content with very, very mild mods, only a little bit of quality of life, nothing really game-changing, except for the mini-map that could turn somebody off, but I love this thing. And we are going to play for a royalty victory. I'll go as straightforward as I can towards that victory, and that's the goal of the series, and I'll explain as much as possible. And the thing about the stream is that we're going to have the option to ask questions during that, and I'd be more than happy to answer these. The chat will be also integrated into the video on demand, so you will always understand the questions behind that. And before we now get started for real, I'll sadly have to do this, but this project here only can do well with your support, so check out the links in the description below. If you would be kind enough to support, it would be awesome. And now that's out of your hair, let's get started for real. So I want to go over the mods that I'm running here real quickly, and that's nothing too special. We're just running some better menus, and basically these mods are aimed to make the pawns a little bit smarter and the animals a little bit less dumb, and the rest is just a mini-map and a little bit of options to make things easier. The allow tool is maybe the biggest addition there, and all of these mods here, I'll drop them into the description below as well. Right now they aren't in, but I'll fix that in. These are really very beginner-friendly mods because they alter the game not too tremendously. They merely fix out a lot of the issues the game has by definition. Okay, let's get started. We're going to roll on over with a new colony, and I'll be not going too much over basics in this series because, you know, for the basics I have a beginner's tutorial series. Feel free to browse into that. No, we're going to play here a regular crash-landed experience. I was kind of like tempted to play something else here, but I want to go into that royalty gameplay as quick as possible, and I think 3 people are ideal for that purpose. I want to roll with Cassandra Classic, and we're going to play on Strive to Survive. This is a relatively mild difficulty level. Well, let's go for reload anytime mode, and this shouldn't be too hard for me, I hope. Let's see, maybe I'll get squished. So in the custom settings, just a couple of things. I always turn off friendly fire because I personally find friendly fire disgusting. I really feel like it's not about my people doing friendly fire. It's about caravans wildly firing into my people and killing stuff while they are trying to kill a man-hunting animal. I've had the wildest things, and I'm done with that. If you are really bothered by people dying instantaneously, you can also alter the colonist instant kill ratio here. We're gonna leave it at 100%. I really only wanted to turn off the friendly fire. The rest of these things, I'll leave that to everybody as he seems to see fit. Alright, we're also not going to change anything here. I like the standard settings. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and we can use that to our own world building wishes. You can add in more factions and whatnot, but it's really not that important. So to make things a little bit more interesting for my old me, I'm going to go for a random site selection until I find something playable instead of selecting something manually. The easiest way to get the job done would be obviously to set up a camp in a temperate forest, but with the random site selection I can do some cool stuff here. And by the way, if you are on the video on demand and you want to see the actual gameplay footage, I'll drop a timestamp below as well, so you can skip all the beginning stuff you don't want to see that. Alright. So, random site. We are here, sitting in the arid shrubland. I want to use this also to talk a little bit about starting positions, you know. This might actually look like a bad starting position, but it is not the worst starting position of them all. Actually, I could win the game off of this, because we have a good neighbor here. These purple dudes, they sell modern stuff, so we don't need to worry about items for trade, and the distance is not too horrible. We have lots of flat land. Possibly we can even hitch a ride on that road. Would be a pretty good start. The arid shrubland also has a pretty cool advantage. You have a year-round growing period. You know what? We're going to take that. I actually like that. There's one big downside of this starting point, though. The next Imperial City is very, very far off. That doesn't really matter too much, even if you want to win via royalty. But it is surely cool if you have high-ranking royalty dudes able to trade there. But tell you what, this is not an impossible distance. I mean, we're going to use the markers here. And yes, that's 5 days of traveling time. That's quite a lot, but it is not impossible because this is also traveling time without mounts, and therefore we'll take that. This is a nice starting spot. It ain't too easy. It also ain't too hard. And most importantly, we are living in a mountainous area, so I like mountains. Mountains are pretty cool in terms of base building, and they make for pretty good defenses. Well, there goes my idea of pondering more about starting points. Whatever. We have other goals for this. So, Ideoligion-wise, I want to create a customized fluid Ideoligion, where we begin with a simple setup and we let it develop over time. I really love that because I'm all about storytelling in this game, and this always gives me the opportunity to evolve the Ideoligion of the folks in there to the stuff that's actually happening there, and I really dig that. So let's see, what kind of thing do we go for? Well, let's randomize that. Ideological. There are no gods. Yeah, why not? And when you choose a starting meme, well, there's a couple of things you can go for. Pretty simple is the Supremacist thing. Supremacist is cool because it unlocks shooting and melee specialists, which come in handy later on. And most importantly, you can do with this Ideoligion a lot for the ignorance towards dead bodies. So you have access to a couple of interesting precepts there. We could also go for something like the Ranchers. That would be opting into meat eating and not into plants. The medium ones are more harsh. You know what? We're going to go simple. We're going to go Supremacist. And with the Supremacist thingy, you can, well, geez. What is this weird thing? Oh, I went one step too far. I randomized one thing too much. So, here we go. Okay. Whatever. I really thought that there were more options, so you can add in more precepts here to your own liking. The grayed out need other memes, and these are available. I don't want to go too deep into that. I just want to utilize the Supremacist, and if you mouse over here, you can see what the meme actually influences, so just so you know. In this scenario, I really love it if they don't care about dead people, so it's pretty useful, you know. So we're going to go for free love because, you know, it's really pretty exhausting if you have to make sure that the people always marry first before they can make love. You pass out on really good mood bonuses, and I don't like that too much. So insect meat, you can either love or hate it. That's a little bit too much of a power gaming aspect for me. We are going to go for quiet executions. No, we're just going to go for respected if guilty for now. So male clothing, if no, let's go for that. And let's scroll on over here. So we have here melee and shooting specialist. Can I have other people here as well? No, we only have these. Yeah, well, whatever. Then we'll keep both of them. We can still change that later. So we have a dance party. We have a social festival. We have a gladiator duel. I don't want that. The thing about gladiator duels is they are a little bit hard to pull off, and let's do something more easy on us, like a Sky Lantern festival. Okay. So I'll keep everything as random as possible because I like it like that. This way we will have a lot of challenge here. There's one thing though I dislike to do, and that's these head dresses, or generally my ideologians. I love my ideologians without certain clothes restrictions. You can do that for yourself, like you see fit. We are going to go for a very simple thing. We're the ethical ideology. Yeah, why not? Okay, so here goes the worst thing that I'll do. I'll just take the randomized colonists as they come, because I feel like that's a great way of putting myself onto an interesting challenge, and we are going to enjoy some non-ideal gameplay, because I think that's the best way to learn something about Rimworld. If I set up a colony full of geniuses, this isn't that educational. Alright, we are now in the area Shrubland. You see here, the mini-map here is something modded, and if you think that a mini-map right from the get-go is a little bit too strong, you can also lock it behind the comms console. Basically, you need to put up a radar station first, or even if you run Rimatomics, you can even make it like that. I personally love it because it makes base planning so much easier for me. It is, though, a little bit cheaty in that way, because you see enemies attacking way better, but I don't care about that. So, we are going to go for a Hades Prime. Sorry, the chat just got eaten up. Good morning for you. Good evening, good afternoon for me. So, this area here is totally cool to defend. Mountainous maps are among the easiest things to settle down and keep your turf clean. So, we have here a lot of sandy area. I'll highly recommend you to check out the terrain affordance here. Turn on that thing, and let's see. I can zoom very far out because I have Camera Plus. It's yet another mod I'm running here. Camera Plus does just two things. It allows this, and it allows that. I love that, okay? I need these things. So sorry for making you dizzy. So, as you see here, there are no areas that are right now highlighted as... I clicked this. That means a good thing. There's no soft sand on this map that we need to worry about, because this means this area here is perfect building area. Why is it perfect building area? It's sand. We can't plant anything on sand, but we can build buildings there, and that's awesome. Evgenii there. I don't see that, just got here. Ah, okay, I thought the chat was a little bit slow. Cool. Now, this is going to be where we're going to set up our living area, or most of our everyday stuff will happen here. I have more sandy spots here, so we can definitely say our starting area will be here. And I also noticed that here we have a lot of soil, so let's turn on the fertility overlay so you see the green stuff, the dark green or the bright green stuff, and pale green stuff here. These are the good spots on an arid shrubland. We could also go for this direction, but I really like this look of that. We have some good building spot here. We have agriculture here. We can wall off ourselves. We have a massively nice base already. Cool. That's why I like mountainous bases. They are really, really easy to whip off. Aikichi, hello there. It's a new start, yes, and it's going to be what I call a guided run. We're going to do a royalty victory here, and I'm going to explain more than usually, because this is supposed to be a tutorial series, so everybody hanging around, feel free to ask away your questions. The goal of this series is really to give players that are no beginners anymore a series where I'll be explaining a lot for people that just want to get better at the game. Because I spent around, I don't know how many hundred hours in this game for real. Steam says 2,000, but it is not the real number because I was AFKing a lot. But you get the idea. So, the first things first. We have set up shop here, and I'll do one thing, allow everything. You can only do this if you have the allow tool mod enabled. I love this. It's so easy. I can only recommend allow tool. It's a great thing. So, let's check out our people here. So, Arisen. We have a sanguine night owl hating dumb labor. Okay, she won't haul, clean, or do anything. Fine. But she's a good melee person, she's a good miner, she's a good crafter, and she's a good researcher. We have a massive research beast here. That's good. So we have another person incapable of dumb labor. Now that's going to be fun. Is the third person also incapable of dumb labor? Nobody's incapable of violence. Oh my god. We have a nice party here of noobs. Okay, so this guy is very good with plants and animals. That's very, very valuable. And he's very passionate about medical and social things, so valuable person, very valuable person. What's bothering me here is we have no passionate shooter, but you know, there's always something. So let's check out Bash, God bless. We have a cook, very good, and this guy is also extremely good on social things. So we're going to do as follows. Irioth is going to be the leader, and Bash is going to get the priest title, because the priests actually have to or they are well better off with high social values because of the conversion thing. I'll explain that later when it becomes more apparent. Now, let's see. Irioth is a hard worker, exactly. Also sanguine. Sanguine is awesome, plus 12 mood. These guys won't break that quickly. We have 2 of these. And, well, to even it out, we have Bash. He's very neurotic. It's quite the opposite. His mood isn't a problem, but he's fast on edge than other people. Alright, I actually do like this squad. They aren't bad, but what did I see? We have nobody who's good on construction or passionate about that. Sucks, but whatever. So Arisen is definitely going to be Le Constructeur. That means also construction 3, we have no access to electricity to begin with. Awesome. That's going to be very educational. So we put Bash on top-notch priority of hauling and Irioth on top-notch priority of agricultural things. Always put these on top priority. You can hold down left shift, left click or right click these things to change entire columns. So just so you know, we are going to make this as follows. Everybody is going to be a doctor. We put a very high priority on basic things. And, oh yeah, cooking. Cooking above everything else. Alright, brilliant. Now, this looks like an ancient danger. It's positioned to me, very close to my base. I'd say we are going to start setting ourselves up somewhere around here. I could deconstruct those steelies. Let's see, how much sandstone stuff do I have besides that? We have a couple of pretty cool ruins here. Hey, steel columns, steel sarcophagus, man, resources, nice. Alright. So as you see here, I'm taking a lot of time without actually unpausing the game to begin with, but I can only recommend. There are so many things that you can decide on very, very early. For example, something very easy like this. So we're going to put up a wooden wall here, there, and that. Okay. You wouldn't need this corner here, by the way. I just do that because it bothers me without. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call this out as my stockpile zone. With just a couple of extra walls, I have fixed up a nice room we can work with. And that's what I'm looking for. And I just decided that our first apartments are going to be here. So let's put these up like here. One wall there, one wall there. Oops. And by the way, I do a lot of this. I click somewhere and press O to copy something. Picking up things that I already have built and to multiply them is a thing I love to do. And magic is off the table in this run, yes. This is vanilla. This is going to be an entirely vanilla run. But don't you worry, I'll still play the other things in between. I just felt like I wanted to do a new tutorial series. This one I had in mind for a pretty long time already. So, you know, I wanted something for a change. A little bit less drama, you know. 500 thread grows into quite some tedium after a time. Okay, so we got all these. So these are the blueprints for the beginning, and now let's just start our gameplay here. So our people are now just wheezing off to doing what they want to do. Oh boy, we have a dog. His name is Fizz. So the first things first, we're going to train that dog, and somebody is going to get handling. So Irioth is actually good at that. Brilliant. Okay, so who's my best shot? Both of them are bad. Great. So let's give them guns, because we need to. And let's not forget to claim these doors. But we're actually going to replace them with wooden ones. By the way, replacing stuff like that is courtesy to the replace stuff mod. Without it, you won't be able to do so. So one dramatic downside about the arid shrubland is in general that you have a very, very urgent shortage of wood on this map. So as you see here in this biome, we only have saguaro cactus and Drago trees. The Drago trees are pretty good all in all. They come with a, a harvest yield of 25. That's pretty okay. It could be better, but it ain't horrible, at least. But the saguaros, well, they are basically the rice among the wood-producing crops. You know, it's all locked behind the tree sowing tech. What I'm trying to say is saguaro grows fast but has a very low yield, and therefore I'm not that much of a big fan, but it's better than nothing. And in this biome you are bound to certain options. Okay, so now we're slapping in some beds into these rooms. This is kind of a difficult situation because the only constructing person here is somebody without passion and a low skill. Sometimes you have to chew through these, and she will grow into a decent constructor. If you have not a person with passions in your colony for constructing, just select the person who has the highest skill and let him or her do that. Forever and ever and ever. Until they are good. You know, that's the only way how you can actually get better at that. Okay. So Arisen was taking a break. And the real disturbing part about that is our starting apartments will be, frankly said, horrible. We'll have pretty bad beds and takes forever. I'm pretty sure our first night will be under the stars. So, let's set up the horseshoe pin. Always very, very important. Very cheap. Kills boredom. First room is finished, and let's see. It's a poor bed. I expected an awful one. Huh, 2 poor beds. Look at that, Arisen going crazy. She actually did achieve 2 rooms of 3. Not bad. So we're harvesting the Drago here around the corner, but you can already see there is not really much going on here. Wood-wise. That means we'll have to be careful with that. Wood consumption in the beginning, until we can produce that stuff endlessly for ourselves. So for the first day, my big goal is always to have beds for everybody. Hey, look at that, man. You even got a normal bed. So, speaking about beds, let's put up a animal sleeping spot so the dog has some place to sleep as well. Alright, so first off, the most important things always are to take care of the basic needs of your people. So, set up a shelter, set up a replenishable source of food, and make sure that your people are not going nuts anymore. Just the utmost basics. Food-wise, we will be relying now a while on these rations that we started with, because they are really, really, really good in that regard. You can, I think, survive around 8 days or something just with the rations to begin with, so you don't need to worry in the crash landed start about that too much. Alright. We will need some food for the doggy, though. Without food, we can't train him. If you want to know what kind of food you need, you can always get on over to the animal. If it is in the diet, it can be used as a training food. Dogs are omnivores and therefore really grateful candidates for that, because you will not need to stress yourself too much out with that diet. Alrighty, so why are we not creating that blueprint there? Or building that wall, I must rather say. So let's just draw a big rectangle over this place. So we chop on in some wood. And the next thing I want to do here is, since I have a very, very good person on plants, I'm going to slap on a growing zone here. So I'll do 2 growing zones. One relatively large for potatoes, and one rather small. Let's do that around here, where I'm just growing some rice to begin with. Now, eerie off with plants 10, it's going to be really, really quickly done. Even a hard worker, so. You have trouble with security? Alright, I'll show you guys some easy tricks for early game security as well. There are pretty cool things you can whip off. Okay, so it's pretty apparent that we're going to be able to defend ourselves quite easily here. We just need to slap in a couple of walls. Here a wall, there a bit of wall, here a wall, and then we're only attackable from one flank. That's pretty good. That is very, very good. Okay, so after all these things are now done, let's go on further. What's really good about my starting position here is I have all these steelies around that I can dismantle. That's a very cheap source of stone blocks early on, and stone blocks are pretty cool. So now I already have enough sandstone. Let's see. Let's claim that sandstone table and reinstall it here. So people have a place to eat at. New lovers, Bash and Arisen. So what you gotta do when that happens, first things first, you build them a double bed. If you have replace stuff enabled like I do here, you can't just put the blueprint on top of the old bed and it's going to be replaced. Alright, Erioth will chop more wood as soon as the fields are done. Alright. There we go. Oopsie. The low amount of wood here is basically the biggest issue we got so far, but let's stop for a moment here and let's see. What kind of stone will I have most of? Right now we have a lot of marble blocks. Well, marble blocks are beautiful, so you might want to use them for something else. We also have a lot of steel walls here. I'm going to dismantle them later, because steel is awesome. So we're going to start out now with some sandstone walls, because I don't want to use the marble for something else. So 50 here, 45 here, so we have only used 95, 90, and that's going to be on my new workshop. Going for the stone blocks right away because I can, you know. Hey, Jay Cassano, you're welcome. I also will continue with the Seralim, don't you worry. Just wanted to take a little bit of a break and not do the same thing twice in a row. but expect more of the Suralim tutorial stream. Maybe today, but definitely tomorrow. I have to go for a run later, and I don't know if I'll have time to do another stream later down the road. I really hope so. Still, we have a first visitor. So, visitors are, well, low-quality trade partners. How I like to put them. So, Irioth is bored. That means there's no work for Irioth. That's unbearable. Let's harvest some agave, and let's chop some more wood. Here, on this map, I really love to stockpile everything I can. Alright, and now we got this. This little room here is going to be my workshop. The first thing that I want to set up here, especially on this map, is a stonecutter's table. Because I really have no intention whatsoever to keep using wood that much, because it is a scarce resource here, and I want to use the wood for other things. Alright, so I'm really happy you guys enjoyed the Zeralim one that much. We're going to do more of that. And always feel free to ask away if you want me to do other tutorial stuff. I love doing tutorials, you know. I must say it's always been one of my dream careers to be a teacher, but here in Germany that ain't that easy. Alright, but whatever. We got all these things here in store. As you see here, these guys have really, really sucky things, but there's Herbal Medicine. I'll buy that, because even one dosage of that can be very useful. We don't have Herbal Medicine here as a standard, so in temperate forest biomes and the like, you can't just pluck it out of the ground and you're good to go, but not here, you know. So we have the couple's room done. Yo, Bash. You don't need to sleep in the warehouse, you silly. Okay, and here now, one important thing, if you pick up structures like these, you need to claim them afterwards. So see here, these walls, they weren't officially in my possession yet. Your people won't repair them if you don't claim them. That's why it's so important. You can also just kill the first traveler that comes into your city. It's not nice, I know, but this is the tribal faction. You won't miss the tribal faction too much. From my own experience, the tribal factions don't provide too many interesting things, trade-wise, and if this guy, or since this guy is from the local gentle tribe, the thing about them is their goodwill gravitates towards friendliness at the end of the day again, and therefore, if you really need the resources, sometimes when you have a naked brutality start, it can be very, very worth it to try to wrestle down the first traveler that comes to town. Just as a side note. Okay. Here goes the agave, and let's see. Ah, here's another sandstone steely. Awesome. So I got 213 marble blocks. That's obviously not enough to work with, sadly. As you see here, our dog is now getting trained because we got some agave to train him with. For whatever reason it is that dogs in this game eat agave. Dogs also like alcohol in this game, and they really, really like to be a real nuisance without the Animals Logic mod. Okay, so since this is going to be the place where I'm cutting my stone, I'm going to assign a dumping stockpile zone right in front of it. Pretty large one too. Let's configure it though. I'll clear everything. I'll clear all first, that's what I want to say. And then we're allowing chunks, and we're also going to allow every type of corpse, but only the rotten ones, so they can be disposed easier. And I really love to put raw resources here, like stone blocks and steel, because these don't decompose ever. And it's a pretty nifty thing if you cut your stones in here, and there's a really slick infrastructure going on here. So I'll make it like that. That's for me the simplest way to set up a stonecutter's table. Make any stone block, do forever, and now the only thing I do is I minimize the ingredient radius in a way that the ingredient radius is mostly centered around this thing, and then they'll just work off whatever is lying in your yard. I really find that one of the easiest ways to get the job done. So we don't have anybody on the crafting duty, so I'll put Bash on that, secondary. We don't have too many people for that available, which kind of sucks. So I really have to worry about that a bit. But luckily Bash is available for that. Okay, we have a Mad Bunny on the map. Okay, let's draft them killers. So the Mad Bunny is actually here right around the corner. So we're going to do as follows. Press B, get the shooters, and Bash is going to run from the bunny as the non-violent person that he is. And we're waiting until somebody gets the shot. Perfect. Okay. So, good timing. I actually wanted to think about where we are going to set up our kitchen, a freezer and the like. So I already foresee that a lot of my further living area will be sitting here. We have already, well, probably this is going to be, you know what? That's how we do it. This is going to be my kitchen, and we are going to set up a real warehouse, more centralized here. How about this area here? Way better. There's also a lot of stone and stony soil that we can't use. Let's do this like that. So that'll mean I'll use, yeah, well, marble blocks. Why not? Marble wall. We're going to set up our kitchen like that. Also, I'm starting now to exchange the walls. And we are going to use the door here. So as you see here, the time is now blocked. I have the Smart Speed mod enabled, which allows you to right click here and just ignore the speed slowdown. Only possible with the Smart Speed mod though. Smart Speed also enables the 4th time setting you see here. Which is, funny enough to mention that, a part of the vanilla game. The mod actually just unlocks this option, but the speed the speed setting itself is hidden behind the behind the dev mode. I was really surprised when I learned about that. Okay, so we got to mine some. Now, oh yeah, another important thing here, priority of this yard has to be preferred, of course. So our dudes are depositing all the stuff there. Okay, now, with that being done, you see Arisen is working really slowly, though. With that being done, we're going to set up some simple security. Wood might be a scarce resource here, but it's going to be still something I'll be using. So, we're going to create 4 traps here. If ever I will be overwhelmed by a starting threat, I can just kite around that rock until the baddie is going to walk into the spike trap. Hey, Pixel Mamanga, hi there. The allocated spot for living space looks rather promising, exactly. This map is actually a real lucky one. I mean, I even have 2 geothermal spots here. We have 2 steam geysers inside the base area. That's amazing. And we got a lot of mountain to dig into. That's also pretty good. But I'm not going to make this a real mountain base. We are going to utilize the mountain, but we are not going to make this a mountain base because I plan to do a separate mountain base series one day soon, you know. Therefore, we'll leave that for another day. So, we're just going to stay with random names. Homemade sauna privileges. Yeah, well, we have year-round summer on this tile, by the way, making the food situation pretty easy all in all. So a wild woman wanders in. She's called Evila. So we would need to tame her if we'd want to. So pyromaniac, depressive gourmand. She does bring pretty desirable skills though, so we're going to tame her. Sounds weird, is weird, don't care. So Irioth has the necessary handling skill. The weird thing about wild people is they need a pretty high handling skill to convince them joining you. I don't know if you can arrest and turn over wild people. I only know if your own dudes have given up on your colony, you can't just arrest and convert them. I don't know if I could imprison and convert her like that. We would need to find out. Okay, whatever. Not that important. Let's go marble blocks again. I'll be dropping a couple of these here and a couple of that here, so we have another apartment ready if necessary. I mean, I have already one room left over because Bash and Arizon are sharing a bed now, but it never hurts. It never hurts to have more sleeping spots than you actually need at the very moment. You can have prisoners, there are quests that require guest spots. There are just so many things that make you grateful for allocating these spots. So, another thing that I wanted to go for is hunting. Arizon and Irioth are terrible shots. So, they are going to hunt small game. Iguanas, bunnies, rats, you name it. All that stuff comes with one big benefit. You'll train extremely well your shooting. Especially important when you don't have any passionate people in your colony. Happens to me quite often. And therefore, let's see. I hope Evila doesn't go aggro here. It's the only thing I'm worried about. Oh, we have a plasteel deposit here. These are extremely rare, just so you know. So as you see here now, Irioth is going ham. Thing here is, with shooting one, as you see here, every bullet gives you a pretty nice amount of XP, while scaring the hell out of the local fauna. Good job, my man. You did it. You nailed it. Alright, let's see. In a regular storage zone, corpses are not allowed. So we're going to make it like that, but we're not allowing rotten corpses here, so... My dude. Ah, Irioth will never do hauling. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you, my lord. Speaking about my lord, that's pretty funny that I want to do a royalty run here with these guys. These guys are basically made for being royals. So, we are being raided for the first time. It's Jake from the Bowfiends. So, in this scenario, we're just going to make it like that. I really don't mind having one non-violent person to begin with, because they are really awesome in one certain regard. They are able to run while your people gun. So, pretty good stuff. Let's do one thing though. Let's check out this guy. He's an sickly undergrounder, and therefore totally not interesting for our colony as a backup. So, there we go. Arizon is taking aim. So, another really important thing here is we're trying to bait Jake into the traps if possible, but we totally nailed him. Nice. Alrighty, so in this scenario, well, I would imprison and convert him if his persona would be a little bit less disturbingly bad. So therefore, we'll just leave him to himself. He wanted to kill us anyways, so I don't care about that. We'll just put up one grave here for all those who can't come after him, so they know. You have various methods you can go for, but here I just figured that would be a fun way. Early game, you always have a little bit of trouble disposing corpses, but this will get better later on. Alright, so my wood stockpiles are too low for my taste, so we have to do more. So as you see here, arid shrubland at its best. We already are right in the middle of a timber shortage. Oh, whoopsie. We don't want to cut the anima tree. That would be silly. Okay. So, let's allow the removal of Jake. But due to our supremacist ideology, our people won't get mood debuffs if some dead people are lying around anyway. Pretty good stuff. I like that mod, or I like that Ideoligion mod. I like that Ideoligion for this regard, because it makes things a lot easier to begin with. And now just, we're going to bury that fella. Boom. Done. So, let's see. There's another iguana there. And let's just... Who the hell is actually mining here? There we go. These guys have to learn. And we'll have to dig out a kitchen. So let's see. How high is my level by now? There. Wrong. So you need a construction level of 5 to start with power. Awesome. We got what we need. So next step, we are going to set up a table for research. In this scenario, I'll make it out of sandstone. And we're going to drop it into one of these apartments. So, there we go. And we are going to research batteries, of course. That's one of the first things we are doing. So, our food stockpiles are starting to run lower and lower. And we also should set up some stools. Basically, if you would be running a biome with more wood, you'd be able to make it a lot faster to a fully stuffed out base, that's all. So we need a butcher table too, and since wood is such a scarce thing here, I'm going to make it out of steel as a matter of fact. Or mostly out of steel, that is. And let's see. Is Evela still available? Yeah, well. I just decided that I'll turn it off. I'm taking way too much time with this project, and it's not as if this is a very desirable colonist. You don't need to expand your colony as quick as possible, persona-wise, you know? That's not necessarily doing you a lot of a favor. So, let's make sure we got the research table soon. And as much as I dislike it, I really don't want to set up a torch lamp, but I think I'll do it. Thing here is, if you have light, you're working faster. So here's the butcher table. Let's do the same here. Butcher forever, but let's minimize the ingredient radius to the area there. And now the last step, we're going to put up an electric stove right from the get-go. Yes, I know, electric, even though I don't have any electricity yet, because we are going to set up wind turbines here. Let's make them here and there. Bit of a power conduit, and this is going to be where we're starting out with our more modern things, you know. Well, let's make sure that Bash has also a high interest in researching, because that's growing more and more important now. Oh, and we of course need to connect the other wind turbine as well. Alrighty. And we are already out of the worst with that. The only things that we are missing now are batteries to have a steady supply of power, and, well, the actual kitchen. It's sunny over at my place, Aikichi. Thanks for asking. We have a jolly 25 degrees Celsius over here. We had a pretty gray weekend though. So here we go. The Hunted Praetor. You will always get a similar quest like that, and it's always the starting quest. So we are going to assign Erioth as that person because he has already the most incapabilities there, and he's very passionate about social stuff. All right, so Erioth. The quest is always the same ridiculous thing. The Imperial dude is being followed by a man-hunting harmless animal. Always the same thing. So, let's see. Let's get up our other people there and make sure that we're not wasting any of our traps. This little critter is not worth our trap, but the problem I see is that we ain't got the right weather for bad shots like these guys. But we're just going to melee attack this thing to death. You can win the fight against the bunny with your bare fists, so... By the way, finishing off is also a thing that comes from the Allow Tool mod. Requires you to have a melee skill of at least 6, by the way, to pull this off, though. So, the shuttle has arrived, and we're turning on auto-load, and now Erioth is being promoted into the rank of a yeoman. So, this is pretty cool, because this allows us now to have psycasts, so... Let's do a little tending here, without medicine though, because a tiny bunny bite is not worth our medicine. So, let's see, quest available, Yeoman Ceremony here. Let's accept that. So there's now the Bestower coming on in, and begin Bestowing Ceremony, boom. I'll explain more of that later, about the ceremonies themselves. Honorable Bestowing Ceremony. The thing here is, the better the ceremony runs, the more beneficial effects you have, but I want to explain that later when it's more important. At the beginning ceremony, there's just not too much that we can't influence, so it's not worth explaining that much. So we gained the Burden spell. Nice. That's among my favorites. Though, Grable's Gringus, just starting. Yeah, well, AFK without pause is quite dangerous. And you can set up auto-pause whenever something bad happens in the options, Grable. That might help. Because a mad man-hunting animal is a negative event that should prompt a pause if you configure it. There, Jamie, hi there. Greetings back from Germany. Happy to hear that. So generally, this series is all about asking away as well. So you guys, if you have any questions about what's happening here, go forth. I'll do my best. And beyond that, I'll do my best to give you guys here a guided experience. We're going to win the game in this series, basically, if possible. Okay, so we have now set up the electric stove. I have 2 working wind turbines. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up some automated food production. So cook simple meals times 4 until we have, let's say 8. Usually I say 2 per colonist, but if I have a very low amount of colonists, I tend to go for a little bit of a higher number there. So here we go, cook simple meals like that. We are going to reduce the ingredient radius on both of these recipes yet again. Very important, you don't want your people to run around all the map to grab the stuff. That's really annoying if that happens. Well, Rimworld takes a while to get into, Grable, don't you worry. It's a very special gameplay, and it really took me a while to get into it, but once you understood what you can manipulate and what you can't manipulate and how you can manipulate things, it grows a lot easier. At least for me it was like that. Okay, so as we see here, research-wise, we are making damn fast progress, which is really awesome, because without batteries, I should rather say, our situation is going to be not good. I don't like colonies that run on wind power without batteries, so that's why I'm changing it ASAP. But in this scenario, it was quite important because we were running out of food to begin with. So now I'm replacing these walls on the apartments all with stone walls. Do that as quick as possible because wooden walls, basically, the gist of it is wooden walls are awesome until they are not anymore. That's mostly happening when they catch fire, but that goes without saying, I guess. So replacing your stone walls as quick as possible always paid off for me. Replacing your wooden walls as quick as possible with stone walls paid off very much for me. Never regretted that. Even though it is quite a lot of work, especially when you have a low-quality construction person like I do here. My colony doesn't have that much of a good constructor here. Arisen is a very mediocre constructor, but she's getting into it. Alright. So, let's check. We got all these things. Right now, nobody is researching, though, because we have all those modernizations running. That's okay, though. So, as you see here, our food stuff is also rotting away by now. So, let's do another thing. Let's do overwall coolers. By the way, overwall coolers are only existing, I think, due to the... Let's see, replace stuff mod? Yeah. So these are really awesome. In the regular vanilla game, the coolers are, if you set up a regular cooler, that's basically a wall tile. The overwall cooler is something that you slap on top of a wall. So raiders can destroy the cooler, but there's still a wall after that. Because it really bothered me massively when raiders were killing the coolers first, and then, you know, I don't like that a lot. And I don't know why to dislike it in the first place. And I don't know why this game needs actually a mod to replace stuff actively. Don't ask. I find that extremely confusing and disturbing, but that's just as it is. Okay, so I am not going for any further expansions or pressing forward to anything before we have the battery technology unlocked, because that's, as a matter of fact, right now my biggest thing ahead of me. So setting the overwall coolers on -19 degrees if possible. They'll now try to get towards that temperature as good as they can, and that's the point where our food will last longer. But since we don't have a steady power supply as of yet, we'll be getting there in any minute, though. Battery. Wonderful. So, research-wise, I'm going to go now onto the next thing, and that's solar panels. In this environment here, we could also go for geothermal power directly, because two reasons. I have two extremely talented scientists, and I have two steam geysers right in my base. But the regular approach for me, and almost 90% of my runs, is battery, solar panel, and then either microelectronics or smithing towards gun building technologies, because that's just very useful to have. We are going to go for solar panels next because they are really, really synergistic with the wind power, and basically once we have those two technologies together, we have all the power the colony will need. if I start out with a modern start, I always try to get my power supplies done ASAP, because it's really bothersome if you don't have that. So let's slap up a couple of batteries there, and now we are going to start to store that wind power, and that'll change everything. So we have now that done, that done. So the next thing we're going to do is I want to have the real warehouse here, because right now this is going to be the freezer, as we all see, and there's still stuff in here that doesn't belong in there. Sure, makes sense. So we're going to set up shop here. Let's use granite. Granite, by the way, is one of the highest HP wall or stone types available in the game. So if you want to make something robust, try granite. Alright, let's make it like that. So for a warehouse, I like to have several doors, so your colonists never struggle with approaching anywhere from any direction. As you see here now, power is a little bit of a mess, but here comes the storm pumping in power into the batteries. And so we're going to deconstruct the torch lamps now, because we won't be needing them anymore, because we are now working with real electricity. Way much fun, more fun. So let's do the power conduit thing there. Alright. I'll make sure to let the power run through the entire base, of course. There we go. So at this point I'll have to micromanage Arisen, because it's damn stupid to not build the battery at this point first. There's simply no reason to troll us like that. And the most cool thing now is we have now access to refrigeration. Henceforth our food will last as long as we want to, because it's going to be frozen food from now on. And the potatoes we set up a while ago are now going ready soon as well. So there's a flash storm. Flash storms are pretty harmless. They just set things on fire. Most of the time you won't be even noticing that they are problematic at all. So let's see. I'm going to start taming Ivila again now, because she finally decided to move closer to my colony. I didn't want to tame her while she's sitting down there, because if she turns hostile while these taming attempts, I like it to have my fighting people around the corner, you know. So let's shoot down the boom rat. I really need to train my hunters a tad bit more. And as you see here, friendly fire might be disabled on this save file, but my dudes are still able to wound my buildings. Yikes. Yeah, that's shooting one in a nutshell. I bet he was getting a level, or maybe it was shooting two, but either way, that's why we are doing this. Frankly, I am surprised they were able to kill that raider the other day. But we gotta be fair with them, though. The smaller the animal, the harder to hit. And it was already night, so I'll cut him some slack. Alrighty, so next things, I want some standing lamps in every apartment. So we'll get electric light. To battle ancient danger, how prepared are we supposed to be? Well, actually, you can cheese ancient danger sites at day 1. All you need is a lot of traps, and a corridor, and a door. I don't know if this is really an ancient danger site, because I didn't get the warning yet. I should have gotten the warning by now. as often as I have passed by, so I'm wondering if this is just a regular ruin, and I'll always mistaking things there. But if it's not there, where is it then? Basically, for Ancient Danger, you can set up a trap corridor, open them up, and then just wait on the other side. I'm really wondering about that one though, so let's see. If this would be an Ancient Danger, there should be actually a blaring sound now, warning me from being close to that. Did I overlook that? Let's check out the message log. So, no. No chance that this is actually a Ancient Danger thing. Sometimes your map doesn't spawn with one. Okay, nice. Okay, let's keep going here. Why the hell? Ah, because we are out of granite blocks. I was just wondering. So let's haul those granite chunks so we keep our building material. But it's okay if they research further. I'm totally down with that. But we'll definitely need more food soon. But there will be a huge harvest in no time. Alright. So far, so good. So now we are on low food, and we need a meditation spot. I haven't set up anything ideology-wise. Let's change that. So Irioth is now my noble guy, so he'll need a meditation spot. Let's set that up in his room there. And we are also going to set up some roles here. So, we need of course, we need a ideology spot first. So here goes the ritual spot. Begin role change. So Irioth is going to be the Awoken Marshal, our glorious, our vainglorious leader. There we go. And Bash is going to be the academic. I hope that's the priest role. What should be? Let's do that. You can't do that straight on day one. Actually, I should have done that on straight on day one, but okay, there's a Mad Bunny. Mad Bunny. Let's change that. Run, Bash, run! Dude! Do you want to die, Bash? It's a bunny. Take care. Well, early game fight being ridiculous like that, it's okay. So, here we go. So who's assigned doctoring? Pretty much everybody and nobody at the same time. So let's assign Irioth to tend Bash. Never waste a opportunity to tend wounds. Really, it's just that valuable. It's free medical training. Every little bruise is free medical training. Never forget that. Okay. So I'm also setting up another thingy here. And we're also going to set up a column there, just to make sure that our warehouse doesn't collapse and offers enough roof, because we're just going to carve out pretty much everything here. There we go. That's pretty small. Well, Ancient Danger is something you can delay, Aikiji, as long as you want to, because basically the biggest value out of Ancient Danger are two things. The Cryptosleep caskets inside there, and the loot Alright, maybe 3 things. And the chance to get a free colonist there. Sometimes the people in the crypto caskets also decide to be friendly and join you. Had that also happening. It's not the most common scenario, but all in all, you'll also find Luciferium quite often there. That's another thing. Sometimes it's bugs in there, sometimes it's crazy space marines, but be that as it may, in both scenarios, it's not the most dangerous of all encounters that I had. Alrighty, so we are making some fine progress here, my friends. Okay, so still haven't managed to tame Ivila. We're really trying to. There's a rhino. Never hunt a rhino automatically. Really no good idea. Instead, we're going to assign those here. This will consume a lot of time of your people that you have assigned there, especially if they are horrible shots to begin with, but at the same time, it is very valuable. Yeah, we're just not cutting it, eh? Crazy. 16% chance, failing so often. Okay. So we're going to expand our living area now a little bit. You know, make these apartments really apartments. Give them some furniture, give them some flooring. Do the basics that your people don't go nuts in here. I don't do too much for defenses here extra, because it's not that necessary right now. Okay. Jeez. How unlucky. That's really unlucky, because we would have been... We should have been able to tame that lady a while ago, but whatever. Whatever. It's not that bad, is it? Okay. And we are being raided by the Kamba Union. So this is again just one person called Hornet attacking immediately. So we're going to set up our entire colony there because I don't want this guy to run into my colony unchecked. I have those traps and I use them as sparing as possible, mostly because wood is such a scarce commodity, as we all know. So what we're doing here is we're going to use Burden. Burden is just such a massive spell. Burden is reducing your movement by up to 60 frickin' %. That means even your grandma could start kiting this person, and that's just a really nasty spell. It really trivializes every melee encounter out there, as you see there. By now, Hornet has catched so many bullets that it wasn't even a fight anymore to begin with. And you can do this with practically everybody. It even works with mechanoids. So, Burden, one of my absolute favorite level 1 psycasts, gotta say. So we have now, all of a sudden, 1,700 potatoes. Just one harvest here. It's okay, though. We can sell that food as soon as we get a trader into town. Or, at the worst scenario, it'll spoil. I personally always think like this. There's nothing bad in having too much food, but there's very much bad stuff happening if you have not enough food. So just make sure that it doesn't bind too much of your workforce, you know. One day I'll be able to recruit Ivila. So Bash is recreation starved. Okay. Probably it is also about time that we set up some alternatives here in terms of entertainment. I am considering a chess table. But here we got a lot of mining duty to do, and I still haven't managed to get myself a third person into the colony, sadly. A fourth person, of course. And meanwhile, Erioth is, well, pretty close to level 3. Is it okay to just start with a 3-on-5 room and a medium sculpture? Of course, whatever works. You can definitely go for a dormitory style instead of the apartment style that I went here. I really did a lot of different approaches. Basically, whenever I do a tribal start, that's where I do use always the dormitory solution, because 5 people really it strains your building a lot early on. And I feel like it's a lot easier to put them all into one room. Just keep one thing in mind. If you have all these people living in one room, they hate it in the long run. So their mood will be bad. So you probably want to make sure that they don't go mental too often. Okay, so let's reassign that. For some odd reason, when you unassign a couple's bed, you have to reassign it afterwards. They can't memorize that, for whatever reason that is. So... yay! Shooting 3! He's not even able to hit a rat while it's walking past him. Yeah, like I said, it's at the beginning it really wastes a lot of their time. But, you know... it's shooting practice without any risk. Oh, look at that! I found some compacted steel here. Certainly didn't expect that. Alright, so we got more than enough foodstuff by now. And sadly, nobody was digging out of the warehouse. It's not that important. With Rimworld, you don't need to stress out yourself in terms of getting things done as quick as possible. That's right. Ah, right. Okay. Things take time in this game. That's all I'm trying to say. So our next bigger goals now are to finish what's left to do here at the base, which means setting up our base perimeter and expanding. I need more people, and after that, I need better weapons, because what I got weapon-wise right now is just not good enough. We need better guns, for real. Okay, so I got solar panels and batteries now. Perfect. So we're not going to research more power-generating technologies now. I'm going to take the dive into microelectronics. Usually I would go smithing and the like first, but since I have such talented researchers in this colony, I decided to take it a little bit different this time. So Arisen is finally finishing the warehouse, as it seems. She decided to mine out the apartment block first. Sometimes your colonists just do these decisions. You can micromanage them if it is important to you, but I personally think it is important to get the stuff done. Have you ever reached highest title and royalty? I have finished an entire series with royalty, and if I remember correctly, is there something after count? I don't think so. Or at least attainable, you know. There are higher... Is Duke still attainable? I can't remember which one. Yeah, here, Count. Count is the highest one that you can attain, yeah. So I had that. That's been the Vikings series, where I already did a royalty victory once, but I figured it would be really cool to do this as a kind of explain-a-thon here, because I feel like there's just so much worth to be explained and talked about. You get the idea. Alright, so we have now solar panels researched. I have still a bit of steel and a bit of component left, so let's do this. we're going to set down some solar generators in between our wind turbines. That's the wonderful thing about them. They don't block each other. I like that a lot. Hey, it's marriage time. We are celebrating in the ruins or something like that. Whatever. And they lived happily ever after. At least I hope so. Transport pod crash. A geologist named Sam crash-landed. So Sam is of the Herdio faction. That means there's 0 chance of him joining us. Sam is also pretty deado, so we're going to rescue Sam. That's what kind of people we are, you know. We are still going to tend to Sam without medicine, because there's no reason to waste my valuable medicine on him. Oh, talking about medicine, there's here. Oh no, that's the wrong point. Numbers is a modded thing. Here, at the assign screen, we're going to set this up on Herbal Medicine, and I'll just hold the left mouse button and drag it down, so you can copy-paste the settings there, in case you didn't know that yet. It's a pretty nifty thing. I use that a lot. Alright. Solar panels up. And now we just have to do a lot of mining to get the warehouse done with. And also, well, I'll be micromanaging Bash now a bit, because I noticed that I have a very, very low amount of the stone blocks that I want to do available right now. That's bothering me. Let's change that. Sam is now no longer incapable of walking. You can be shooing them out like that. You're going to feed him. And now you just go on there, onto the bed, and then you set it up for slaves, and then he has to leave. And he's automatically walking back there. Or you could also set it up for prisoners, whatever. But if you don't want your people here to rest up until they're healed up... Okay, Sam just takes in a different bed. Seems like he's not willing to leave the map yet. Sometimes you can shoo them off the map with that. Not Sam, though. Alright, so Bash, we don't need you researching right now. We need you cutting stone, my man. So, human revenge, it has happened. So Erioth has messed up his taming attempt, and he's running away. That's the first mistake. We're fighters, we're not runners. So Erioth will now... Oh yeah, you're... I'll draft him. Cast the Burden spell. Draft Arisen. Draft Bash. And pray that Erioth gets away from Ivila without... dying. So the burden spell is helping us to get some distance between this feral monstrosity. Let's see, 1.65, 1.84. So she's still faster than Erioth, but that isn't that much of a big deal because we're just going to use Bash for that. This is a nice trick. You can send somebody with reason passed along there, basically. Let's burden her again. And now, if I... Okay, Erioth, you're going to step up here. And if I now... You see here, Ivila now changed her target. That's that. There we go. So we're going to capture her now. Let's see, maybe we can get that done this way. So Bash, capture. So she's gonna die in 6 hours, and we destroyed her lung. Oh god. Permanent injuries. That's just a fine Rimworld thing. So, as you see here, we still have to tame her. We cannot convert her or recruit her like you would be able to with a regular dude. Okay, so that's that. Sucks to be Erioth, but whatever. At some point, we should be able to tame her. In this scenario now, this is a little bit safer. I didn't want to start out with that, but, well, whatever. If that's necessary, we'll just do. Meanwhile, Arisen is hacking away on that. And I put in a light here, and that's making her work faster. That's a fun thing you should know, that wherever there's darkness, your people are working slower. Darkness is imposing a debuff on your work speed. Therefore, keep your areas nice and lit. Alright, here I assigned Bash forcefully to go for a bit of that. Stone cutting. And I'll clear that. This force working is part of the Achtung mod that I am running here, which allows you to force people to work. Originally, it was a mod that allowed you to, that was more aimed towards coordinating your people in combat situations, but most of these features have become standard. So we have people heat stroking here during Jugust. So that's another specialty of this biome. You also have to install coolers in your apartments. Oh. She changed her religion. Okay. And since we're doing that, we also have to install vents to share the conditioned air. Let's make sure Sam is not heat stroking here. Alrighty, so as soon as Bash is done with his regular labor and starts to research, I'm going to slap him on the stone cutting bench yet again, because we just need stone. Lots and lots and lots of it. We also happen to need lots of steel, but that's another day's story. So I'm going to set up another door here, but we're out of wood for that. Let's change that. Orders, chop wood. So there's only one saguaro. As you see here, there's never been much regrowing here. Arid shrubland can do. But on the other hand, I gotta say, the year-round summer is for me one of the coolest features that you could possibly have. So, when you force somebody to work with the Achtung mod, though, take care. They overwork themselves. You have to turn them off, otherwise they'll go nuts. So, Sam is finally fully healed, and he's now leaving the map. This is pretty cool, because that means we're going to get some faction goodwill from his faction due to that. There we go. We got our warehouse almost done. As you see here, relations changed from 0 to 16 because we released somebody safely. Okay, we have Mad Donkey. So he will use up one of my traps. Nope, he's not. Nice. If I would have set up my people around here, it would have been a very, very high chance of the donkey running through the trap. I actively try to avoid that. So, cast a burden. And now Bash is going to run across the donkey. As you see here, now the donkey has started facing Bash. And now we let the people do their shooting. If you don't disable friendly fire, this is a lot more dangerous, but still a pretty viable strategy. The aggro system of Rimworld just works like that. You can abuse it a lot. Alright, so I'll put that on Hunt. And here's a fun thing. Erioth is not willing to do dumb labor, but if he's hunting a animal that's just wriggling on the ground, he magically decides that this is a job fit for him and hauls that stuff. Even though he is never going to haul stuff. Fun, eh? So he tried to tame Ivila with rice, and she turned, and she had a food poisoning from that. Dude, did you know that raw rice is not healthy? Now you know. Alrighty, so this place is already very well off. The only thing that we need to do now, and I'll do that right away because we have everything we need for that, is walls to secure our perimeter. And I feel like that's going to be very, very cool to have that done during the very first episode of this playthrough. So we're going to set up walls here and here, like I said before. And we're going to set up walls here and there. And we're going to set up walls there and there. And now the only option to enter my map is via this angle, or my base. What's really important though is that we are setting up doors here. So doors, doors, and doors. The fun thing about that is the raiders won't realize that there are doors. The only raiders that are able to realize that doors are a weak spot in your defense are sappers. Every other sort of raider will just pretend like there's no door there and just treat it as a solid wall that they can't cross. That's just that. So, Tori's Refugees. We have a quest opportunity where 2 people would stay at our place for a couple of days in return for their workforce. I'm not the big fan. An excavator named Chuck. He's Arizen's ex-husband. Now things are spicy. So we're definitely going to rescue Chuck. Sometimes people that you rescue are joining your colony indirectly. Since Chuck has only 6 more hours to live, I'm tending him on the spot, because sometimes people die if you transport them from there to there, and then you tend them. I've had people dying because of that. We don't need to. So Chuck is now here. So what's the matter with Chuck? He's a trigger-happy undergrounder. I would totally like him to join the colony, but we don't get to decide on that, because I mean, I could capture him, of course. So, Chuck has an infection. Alright, poor fella. Let's treat him. If somebody has an infection, I really like to give him medical standard or industrial medicine. That's the blue thingies. Here, 79% tending quality. So, immunity goes on faster than the infection. Alright, Manhunter Pack. We are being attacked by a pack of man-hunting Yorkshire Terriers. Beware! Well, so this is one situation where we could do either of these two things. I could now just hide in the warehouse in here until the Yorkshire Terriers have successfully killed themselves on the traps there, or we just face them. Manhunting animals are among the most easy threats to counter, and we're just going to do that. But in this scenario, we're going to use the kiting strat one more time. Just waiting for the Yorkshire Terriers to come around the corner. And get into burden range. That's also very important. There we go. If I only knew what they are aiming for. So, that's the front one. Already burdened, and the back one. Alright, now they are so slow that it's a joke to kite them. I really got no clue where the other man-hunting dog is going towards to. I mean, at the end of the day, this would be a lot easier to just punch them until they die, sure. But at the same time, I feel like this is such a cheap shooting training for us that I really don't mind. So let's burden that thing once more. It's too fast. There we go. there you see, Erioth already at shooting level 4. So here I'm navigating Bash in a way that we don't accidentally trigger the trap. Wow, this is one tough as nails Yorkshire Terrier. Okay, there we go. And the next thing is we're going to set up a nice stockpile zone here, and now we can finally change things. So this stockpile zone here is now going to be the freezer. Clear all, allow food, allow corpses. Only fresh, not rotten, and preferred priority. So now everything else will be stored in the other one, and that's what we were aiming for. So, Arisen is finishing the wall there, and Chuck is joining us, so it was definitely worth treating his infection. Nice. Alright, so we're going to assign Chuck. Oh, he has the wrong religion. So, Chuck is really good at constructing. That's something Arisen isn't good at, and the most important thing, if somebody is suffering from an infection, set them on bed rest, highest priority, and make sure that doctoring is not on a higher priority than bed rest. Because otherwise, people will run around foolishly and bait themselves into death. So, oopsie, I didn't mean to do this without medicine, but whatever. So, let's use the numbers mod. And as you see here, numbers is giving you the opportunity to have an overview about all the skills of your people, and also an overview about diseases. As we see here, Chuck's immunity is now going down, down, down because of the bad treatment there. Well, and we also have a case of cooking incompetency, so let's make sure that nobody else here is cooking. And Ivila has joined the fray, so we have now officially 5 people in the colony. Awesome. That's really, really good. So let's configure Ivila. So now I have so many constructors that Erzen can actually focus herself entirely on the art of crafting, which is outright awesome. So let's take care that Chuck is not going to die on us. So we can tend him again, and I think that showcased pretty decently how important it can be to get your stuff going on there. So another thing that I want to do now is I want to have a electric tailoring bench, because we want to. Alright, medical emergency. I bet that's Chuck's infection. Alright. So, Chuck's not gonna survive that, because my doctor got the pukies. That's a tragedy, but I don't mind too much. I don't need 2 people there, and that was very, very unfortunate, gotta say. It's been among the most unfortunate things that I've seen in a while, because basically the treatment just got blocked by the pukies there. Whatever, we're going to... let's claim that sarcophagus and just take care of that. A shaman merchant comes by. So yeah, this was a good opportunity to showcase how nasty these things can be. Infections, I mean. And we really need to take care of another thing too, and that's our naked colonist there. So the deserter. The deserter quest is always giving you the opportunity to turn your back against the Empire. I heard death of your pawns can reduce the raid points. Yes, it does. Basically, when you lost a couple of people recently, the next raid will be less brutal. That's one thing that I totally noticed there. So the Bow Fiends are attacking us again, featuring one person called Matvey. That's a ridiculous fight. So we're just going to leave it as that. Let's see, what's Ivela doing? Ah, she's building. And she's tantruming because she is depressive. Yeah, okay. That comes with the character. So we're just going to wait that out. Ah, we are out of steel. That's why we're not building that thing. So yeah, a little bit sad that this happened to Chuck. But that's been basically on me. So we have one caravan here, so let's see what they got for us. So we could buy ourselves some animals there, but I'm not too much of a big fan. The cool thing about Shaman Merchants are these lances here, but it's a little bit early in the game. I'm going to buy some fresh herbal medicines again, and beyond that, they aren't buying any of my goods except for my industrial type medicine, which I don't want to share. Oh yeah, and I forgot to toggle automatic rebuild of destroyed structures. You should always turn that on right away. Because here, Ivela bashed a couple of... Oh! You silly! Yeah, whatever. I didn't realize she was getting kidnapped, but... Whatever. So you see me very, very chill about things like these. Simple reason behind that is we got what we need, basically, and it's a little bit weird to lose your people like that real quickly, but I learned one thing over the course of the time. New people always come, and therefore that was quite a quite funny way of losing somebody, because I could have avoided that. But at the same time, it ain't that horrible. I wasn't happy with Ivela in the first place because of two reasons. First off, she was a pyromaniac, but that wasn't not too much of a problem for me. What had been way more problematic for me was that she had the depressive trait. And people with the depressive trait, they are up to no good. I have had several runs in the past with depressive colonists, and they end up being terribly often under breakdowns, and therefore, yeah, sucks, but could have been worse. We didn't lose any of our good people, and there will be better people coming after that. I'm merely a little bit sad that I just derped out so hard on that, but whatever. So, compensated violence. We will get honor for being attacked 3 times by one person. We'll take that quest. So, Irioth. Let's check that out. Irioth's honor level. He's a yeoman, and he got, right now, where can I check out my honor level, my honor points? So we'll need 13 in total. I got 8 to begin with, so we can safely take that quest. I mean, you don't need to increase the title of your people before you feel like they are fit for that. But this is just such a cheap way of getting something done here. We should do that. If you run into quests that you feel like, wow, that's easy doable, you should possibly do it. And here we got some puke right next to the kitchen. Always clear that out. Because there's one fun thing about kitchens. You never will have a food poisoning because of a dirty kitchen if you don't put down a flooring below that. That's just weird as it is. But you can have food poisonings from dirt on the ground if there's puke right next to the kitchen. So always clear that out. Just so you know. Okay, so all the dreams of expanding the colony are over now, but that ain't that horrible. we got this still. So Arizon is going to mine out some steel for us so we can continue our production. And I want to get that tailoring table done as quick as possible. And also, we got our fortifications down. Yeah, that's nice. So now we're going to set up ourselves some traps here. And this corridor here, we will modify that in the course of the time into some proper zone to kill stuff at. I am not a big fan of kill boxes. You will not see me building kill boxes in Rimworld because I feel like it's a too rigid and one-sided form of defense. And I personally dislike the fact that you invest so much into one direction and all it takes are a couple of drop-potting enemies and you are in a bit of a hassle. We got a heat wave now washing over us. So heat wave is in this biome pretty dangerous all in all, but since we got the cooler already set up here and since we got a lot of power production, I'm totally chill about that. Okay, so I'll cut this first episode here at this point. I will continue ASAP. We have a pretty cool setup here. We have a starting base. Sadly, we lost all our reinforcements right from the get-go, but that doesn't matter. We weren't too attached to them anyways, and new people will come. So, if you watched this as a video on demand, feel free to drop your comments down below, leave a thumbs up on this video, and of course consider subscribing. And I have mentioned it at the beginning of the video, and I'll mention it at the end of it one more time. Check out the description box. There are support links there, and I can use any help I can get from you guys because, you know, free content is free content, so I'll stay free content. And yeah, I'm just not earning that much money yet. Anywho, I don't want to talk too much about that. I just want to end with thanks for watching this. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being so awesome. And I hope to see you folks soon again. Bye-bye and see you on the next one.